Freddie Rubino here, back with my podcast. A lot of people want my podcast back. I stopped doing it, and people were like, Freddie, where's the podcast? So today is another podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by your sister, the original super spreader from the 1970s. And I'm Freddie Rubino, the king of Brooklyn. Go to fredrubino.com. See where I'm playing when I don't have COVID. The Chinese have poisoned the world, and no one's talking about it. The biggest story in the history of the United States, when the Chinese poisoned the world. Look, boom. We'll get to that. So, a lot of people are wondering, Freddie, where do I see these podcasts? On Facebook. I will download them also on YouTube. And they will be available on a special Facebook page called Fred Rubino Podcast. Madonna mia, it can't get easier than that. Even if you failed your GED, you should be able to know Fred Rubino Podcast. Anyway, thank you for all the death threats from all you liberal people who threaten my life all the time. It means nothing to me. Your reprisals mean nothing. So let's get right to it. Today's topic is what's going on in Afghanistan. Okay? So many people are wondering, what are we doing in Afghanistan? Okay? And it really doesn't make sense to anyone who has any knowledge of politics or warfare. It doesn't. People are astounded, like, what's going on? Or even people who just have common sense. So when you look at even the press briefings, it's embarrassing. Here are these heads of state generals. They got a whole stack of stuff making up bullshit stories. Right in front of your face. You know it's a bullshit story. How many people are American citizens in Afghanistan? We don't know. How could you not know? Aren't you registered? Don't we have computers? Is this 2021? Don't they just say, look, I don't know who's in there, I don't know who's not, but at least say, but we know there's 15,000 Americans. Okay? It's an insult to everybody to say that they don't have this information, okay? And they make up crazy stories. They're not hostages. They just can't get out. Okay? So it's embarrassing. So what's happening? These aren't stupid people. And then we just don't have the information. We don't have the information. Okay. This is very, very a trying thing. And a lot of people are arguing back and forth and people don't know. Unless you come from the streets of New York, of Brooklyn, and you have street smart. Okay? And your street smart takes over. Okay? Once things get confusing, people in New York and Brooklyn, especially my generation, we stop. And we go, okay, what's really going on? Because I'm seeing a lot of bullshit. Okay? We're seeing a lot of bullshit. And I'm going to tell you another thing. The military, best in the world that ever was. Best military ever. When you see a general, when you see a 4-star, 5-star general, when you see these people get up there and deliberately bullshit you, there's something really wrong with the country. And here's another thing. These people love their soldiers. They hurt when their soldiers are killed. Okay? So, for it to be that bad, what could be that they're making up stories? People who love the military. Okay? It's very clear when you come from New York, and what happens is, it becomes very clear when you look back a few months before this all unfolded, this all transpired, and you look and you say, how could we, out of nowhere, I know they said we will leave in a certain time. We made the date up. We could make up another date. How could we, out of nowhere, leave the most strategic base in Afghanistan, maybe in the world today, We left it. It's right near the border of China. It's a stone's throw from Russia. How do we just leave it and leave billions of dollars to our enemies, to our sworn enemies? How? What in our right mind? How could this be? You want to argue back and forth? It doesn't make any sense. There's only one way it makes any sense to me. Okay? Let's get one thing straight also. We closed the embassy immediately. We didn't even tell anybody. People were outside the doors. We're like, we're dead. They just closed the embassy. They didn't tell us. We're all dead. There's death squads looking for those people now. Dead. You know it's not closed? The Russian embassy. The China embassy. What's going on? This transpired months before. The President of the United States, his son, became a drug addict. And he has laptops out there. The Russians have one. The Chinese have one. They say there's two now. There are such bad things. There are such bad things on these laptops that there are FBI agents that didn't even want to touch it because of the nature of what's on it. That's how bad it is. All kinds of things. The worst things in the world that you could imagine are on that laptop. Now, as far as the country's concerned, there are secrets. There are things on that laptop that should have never gotten into the hands of these people. Now, a lot of it is just pure politics shakedowns. China was paying. Russia was paying the president's son. It's espionage. It's treason. It's everything you want. He was funneling it back to the big guy. That's what he kept saying. The big guy. Who's the big guy? Your father's the president of the United States. They're paying you. You're funneling it to the big guy. Okay? They have the biggest people in our country in their hand. That's the only way. The only way that when you leave this base, you don't give the order to destroy all the planes, to destroy billions of dollars of weaponry that they're now shooting at us with. All you got to do is say, why wouldn't you do it? He's being extorted. He's being blackmailed. Okay, he's trying to save his son. We don't know how high this goes. We don't know. We don't know if Obama took a few bucks. Now that's why he's hiding. He hasn't opened his mouth about this whole thing. He's hiding. We have been compromised to the point where we close our own energy pipeline and gave the okay to our sworn enemies, the Russians, to open up their own pipeline. That's the only thing you could say is it's this laptop. And it will never stop. Once they blackmail you, it'll never stop. They're going to continue to do it. Who knows how far it's going to go. How could you not destroy the weapons when you left? How could you not do that? How could you just give it over? Let me tell you something. 1776, when George Washington was in charge, and he was in New York, and the British started taking New York. He gave the message. He gave the order to burn the armory, to burn, kill the horses, throw the cannons in the river. Do you understand what he did? He did this so that he wouldn't aid the enemy. This was 1776. We don't know. We don't have this now. Okay. So, this is what I'm saying. I believe it's been all about the laptops the whole time. China has poisoned 500,000 Americans to death. Put another million in the hospital. You know what it is? Look, nothing. Don't even say where it came from. Is that incredible? Why? Why would this be? What did we owe them? It is an extortion like never, ever seen before. And I'm going to tell you right now, with Afghanistan, you're going to see the most horrendous executions and beheadings for the next 6 months coming out of that country of people who have helped us, people who have American citizenship, all because of the laptops. The laptops have horrible, horrible secret information on the United States of America, on payoffs. There's such big people involved that they're just willing to say, just do what they say, because we're all going to be hung for it. And that's the only way you could get such high-level people to completely sell out their country time after time after time. And so many of them, so many are involved that it's almost impossible now to break through. There's only one way to break it through. You must elect people in the next election that are ex-Marines that have had it. Ex-New York City police people. Anybody, in any state you're in. If it's an ex-law enforcement person, they're running for mayor, elect them. They know it's almost over. And there's only one way to stop it, is to get people in that can't be extorted by these countries. That's exactly what's going on. There is no other reason why these very, very intelligent people who know everything about the military more than I will ever know, more about politics and foreign affairs than I will ever know, to completely turn around, give our sworn enemies anything they want. Anything they want. Billions of dollars of weaponry to kill our own people. There's no other explanation. And it's right there. The laptop. It's right there. I'm Freddie Rubino. I cannot see it being any other way. I've never seen anything like this in any country's history. Never. And you'll never see it again. And I believe that's what's going on. And it's a shame. It's one of the biggest shames that this country has ever faced, has ever had to endure. And God bless our troops that have to endure this too. And I'm Freddie Rubino. I'm going to post this on my Facebook page, Fred Rubino Podcast. I'm going to post it on YouTube. And if I get banned from social media, what are you going to do? Go to fredrubino.com. And hopefully you come to see me. I will be canceling a couple of shows because of COVID. But I will be back. My first show back will be in Chicago, September 25th. I'll see you guys there. I love you guys. Freddie Rubino.